The night sky over Earth was not silent. For weeks, strange lights had appeared above the atmosphere. At first, people thought they were shooting stars or satellites, but governments knew the truth. Something out there was watching. Something alien. Captain Ryan Hale stood on the rooftop of the military base, staring at the sky. He had fought in wars before, but this was different. This was not a war between humans. This was the unknown, the kind of danger no training could prepare him for. Behind him, radar screens glowed, showing blips that moved too fast, then vanished. And then it happened. The sky ripped open with a sound like thunder. A silver craft broke through the clouds, glowing with a strange blue light. Sirens screamed across the base. Soldiers ran to their positions, but none had ever seen a ship like this. The alien craft spun out of control, flames bursting from its side, and within seconds it crashed into the desert sand outside the base. Ryan shouted for his team. "Move. We secure the site now." The soldiers rushed across the dunes, their armored vehicles kicking up dust. The alien craft was half buried in the sand, smoke rising from cracks in its strange metal. No one dared to move closer at first, but Ryan led the way. He raised his rifle, his heart beat heavy in his chest. The hatch of the ship hissed. A door opened slowly, steam spilling into the night air. Every soldier raised their weapon. Ryan held up his hand, signaling them to wait. Out of the smoke, a figure stumbled forward. It was not what they expected. The figure was tall and graceful, wearing silver armor that shimmered in the moonlight. Her face was pale, almost glowing, with sharp features and bright, inhuman eyes. A crown-like circlet rested on her head, cracked and broken from the crash. She looked weak, her body shaking, as if the crash had drained her strength. "Is that a girl?" one of the soldiers whispered. Ryan's grip tightened on his rifle. He knew better. This was no ordinary girl. This was an alien. The alien princess collapsed to her knees. Her lips moved, speaking words no one could understand. The language was sharp, filled with sound that cut the air. But even without knowing the words, Ryan understood the meaning. She was not asking for mercy. She was giving a warning. Before anyone could react, a second figure appeared in the doorway of the ship. Unlike the princess, this one was armored heavily, its glowing eyes burning like fire. It raised a weapon unlike anything Earth had seen, aimed directly at the soldiers. "Contact!" Ryan roared. Gunfire exploded into the night. The alien warrior fired back, its weapon releasing bolts of energy that burned the sand to glass. Soldiers fell back, some screaming, some firing wildly. Ryan rolled behind a dune, then aimed carefully. He squeezed the trigger. His bullet struck the warrior's weapon, forcing it to spark and overload. The alien roared, stepping forward in fury. But before the warrior could kill Ryan, something strange happened. The alien princess raised her hand. A flash of blue energy burst from her palm, striking the warrior in the chest. The great armored figure stumbled, then fell, its armor smoking. The soldiers froze. No one moved. Ryan stared at the princess. She had just saved him. But why? The princess swayed, her strength fading fast. Her glowing eyes dimmed as she collapsed face first into the sand. Ryan rushed forward, ignoring the voices shouting in his headset. He knelt beside her, rolling her onto her back. She looked fragile now, weak, almost human in her exhaustion. Her breathing was shallow, but she was alive. "Sir, what do we do with her?" a soldier asked nervously. Ryan looked at the fallen alien warrior, then at the broken ship. He had no answers. He only knew one thing. This girl, this alien princess, was important. Maybe the most important being on the planet right now. "Take her," Ryan ordered. "She's coming with us." The soldiers hesitated, but obeyed. They lifted her gently, carrying her away from the wreckage. Ryan glanced back at the alien ship, half buried and burning. He knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere out there, more of her kind would come. They would not forgive what had happened here. And when they came, Earth would not be ready. But as Ryan walked beside the unconscious alien princess, he felt something strange. He could not explain it. For the first time since the sky had cracked open, he felt that maybe, just maybe, Earth had a chance. Because fate had dropped their enemy's most valuable secret into human hands, and she might become their only hope. The room was cold and bright. White walls, metal doors, and cameras in every corner. It was a secret military facility, built underground so no eyes could see what was inside. On the bed in the center lay the alien princess, her silver armor removed, her crown placed on a table nearby. Wires were attached to her arms, machines measuring her strange heartbeat and unusual energy. Captain Ryan Hale stood on the other side of the glass, watching. He had not slept since the crash. The scientists spoke in quick voices, their words filled with excitement and fear. They said her body was unlike anything they had ever seen. Her blood glowed faintly blue. Her cells carried more energy than human technology could ever create. She was living power. Ryan ignored their talk. He kept his eyes on her face. Even in sleep, the alien princess looked strong, her features calm but proud, like someone born to command. She was not like the broken soldiers he had seen in war. She was something else, something greater. Then her eyes opened. The room filled with sudden light as her pupils glowed bright. Alarms blared, and soldiers rushed in with weapons. But she did not move. She only looked around, her gaze sharp, scanning every wall, every corner. When her eyes fell on Ryan behind the glass, she froze. For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then she spoke. Her voice was low, musical, but firm. The words were alien, sharp, and strange, but somehow Ryan felt the weight of them. She was demanding answers. The scientists turned confused. "We don't understand her language," one said. Ryan stepped inside the room. Soldiers raised their rifles, ready to fire if she tried anything. But Ryan lifted his hand. "Stand down," he ordered. The princess tilted her head as Ryan approached. She looked weak, but her eyes burned with fire. She spoke again, the words fast, angry, filled with power. Ryan stopped only a few feet away. He didn't understand her, but he could guess. "You're asking where you are," he said softly. "You're on Earth, and you're our prisoner." Her eyes narrowed. She raised her hand slightly, and for a second the machines flickered. The soldiers stiffened, ready to shoot. But Ryan held his ground. "You saved me," Ryan said, keeping his voice calm. "When that other alien tried to kill me, you stopped him. Why?" The princess did not answer. Instead, she stared at him, her eyes glowing brighter. Then, slowly, she lowered her hand. The machine steadied again. The scientists whispered frantically. "She can control energy fields. She might even control our weapons if we're not careful." Ryan ignored them. He took a slow breath. "We're not your enemies. But if your people are coming here, we need to understand. Why are you here? Why were you on that ship?" The princess said nothing, but her expression changed. She looked away, as if fighting with herself. Then, in a voice broken but clear, she spoke a single word in English. "War." Everyone in the room went silent. Ryan's stomach tightened. She had learned the word from listening to them, maybe while she was unconscious. But the way she said it, it was not a threat. It was a warning. "War." Ryan asked carefully, "Your people, they're planning to attack Earth?" The princess turned back to him. Her jaw tightened. Then she nodded once. The soldiers muttered curses under their breath. The scientists whispered about strategy, weapons, technology, but Ryan's eyes stayed on hers. There was something more there, something she wasn't saying. "You don't want this war," Ryan guessed. Her eyes flickered, and for the first time he saw it. Doubt. Before he could ask more, the alarm screamed again. A soldier burst into the room, his face pale. "Sir, radar just picked up incoming ships. Multiple signatures. They're not ours." Ryan's blood ran cold. They were already here. The scientists panicked, demanding evacuation. Soldiers rushed to battle stations. But Ryan looked at the princess. She was sitting up now, her chains glowing blue as if her energy was burning through them. She didn't look afraid. She looked ready. Ryan stepped closer. "If your people are coming, then you know what happens next. They'll kill us. Maybe they'll take you back. But I don't think you want that." The princess stared at him for a long, heavy moment. Then she whispered, her English broken but clear enough. "No, father." Ryan understood. Her father, her king, he was leading them here. And she, this alien princess, had just become the most dangerous weapon Earth could hold. The chain snapped, blue energy flashing across the room. Soldiers raised their weapons in panic, but Ryan shouted, "Hold your fire." The princess stood, her hair lifting with the force of her power, her eyes glowing brighter than before. She looked at Ryan, then at the ceiling above them, where the alien fleet was entering Earth's sky, and for the first time, she spoke a full sentence in English. "Fight with me." The underground facility shook as alarms screamed. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere far above, thunder roared, not from storms, but from alien ships breaking through Earth's atmosphere. Captain Ryan Hale ran through the halls, barking orders. Soldiers scrambled into armored vehicles. Scientists fled to bunkers, and heavy doors slammed shut to seal the base. But Ryan knew it wouldn't be enough. Earth had never faced an enemy like this. Behind him, the alien princess walked with calm steps, her glowing eyes lighting the dim corridors. Soldiers looked at her in fear. Some wanted to shoot her on sight. Others whispered that she was their only chance. Ryan ignored their fear. He stayed close to her, watching her every move. Outside, the desert night was no longer silent. The alien fleet hovered above the horizon. Sleek, black ships shaped like blades, cutting the sky apart with their glow. Searchlights from the base pointed upward, but they looked like weak candles against the darkness of the alien war machines. The princess stopped. She tilted her head, as if listening to voices no one else could hear. Her jaw tightened. "They come," she said, her English sharp but broken. "Hunters. Soldiers. For me." Ryan cursed under his breath. "They want you back, and they'll kill all of us to get you." The princess looked at him. For the first time, her proud, sharp face showed something almost human. Regret. "Not want me back. Want me gone. Forever." Ryan froze. "They mean to kill you?" She nodded. "I am threat to throne. To father." The words hit Ryan hard. So her own people wanted her dead. This wasn't just a war against Earth. It was something larger, something inside her own empire. The ground shook again. A piercing light split the desert as one of the alien ships fired. The blast tore through a line of armored vehicles, sending fire and sand into the sky. Soldiers screamed as the first wave of alien troops descended, tall, armored figures with glowing blades and weapons that spat lightning. "Positions!" Ryan roared. Gunfire exploded as human soldiers opened fire. The aliens moved fast, their armor deflecting bullets, their weapons cutting through steel. It was chaos. The princess stepped forward, her chain still glowing faintly from where she had broken free. She raised her hand. For a moment, Ryan thought she might attack them all. But instead, blue light burst from her palm, spreading across the battlefield like a storm. Alien soldiers froze in their tracks as their weapons sparked and died. The humans gasped. "Now!" Ryan shouted. "Open fire." Machine guns rattled, missiles streaked through the air, and alien troops fell one by one. For the first time, the humans had the upper hand. Ryan glanced at the princess. Her face was pale, her eyes glowing bright with power. Every time she raised her hand, alien weapons failed, their armor cracked, and their soldiers fell. She was draining them, breaking them with her own energy. But Ryan noticed something else. Her hands shook, her breaths came faster. She was powerful, yes, but the power was costing her. "Don't burn yourself out," he warned, running up beside her. She ignored him. Another wave of alien troops dropped from the sky, and she struck them with a wave of energy so bright it lit up the desert like day. The ground cracked under force. The humans cheered, but Ryan saw the truth. She stumbled after the blast, her knees almost buckling. He caught her arm before she fell. "You can't do this alone," he said sharply. "We fight with you, remember?" Her glowing eyes met his. For a moment, the fire in them softened. Then she nodded, weak but steady. "Fight together." The battle raged on. More alien ships descended, firing into the base. Human artillery answered. Streaks of fire rising into sky. Explosions painted the desert with light. Smoke and screams filled the air. But the tide was turning. With the princess on their side, every alien strike was countered, every soldier cut down. And then the largest ship descended. It was massive, dwarfing the others. Its surface carved with glowing symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. A voice boomed across the battlefield, deep and powerful, echoing in a language humans did not understand. But the princess did. Her face went pale. "Father," she whispered. The alien king had arrived. The ship opened, and a figure stepped out. He was taller than any soldier, his armor black and gold, his crown sharp like blades. His presence alone made the air feel heavier. His glowing eyes locked onto the princess. Ryan raised his weapon, but the princess gripped his arm. No. Bullets, nothing. Ryan swallowed hard. If this was the king, then nothing on earth could stop him. But the princess straightened her back. Even weak, even shaking, she stood tall. Her voice rang across the battlefield, strong and clear in her own language. She was challenging him. The king answered, his voice like thunder. The soldiers, human and alien alike, fell silent. All eyes turned to Princess. Ryan realized what was happening. This wasn't just a battle. It was something more. A daughter defying her father. A princess defying her king. And if she lost, Earth would burn. The desert battlefield went quiet for a moment as the alien king stepped forward. His armor gleamed black and gold, heavy with power, carved with glowing marks that pulsed like veins of fire. Every soldier, human or alien, felt the weight of his presence. The princess stood facing him, her silver armor cracked, her body weak, but her eyes burning with defiance. Wind swept across the sand, carrying smoke and sparks. Captain Ryan Hale crouched behind a half-broken vehicle, watching. Around him, soldiers whispered in fear. "That thing's unstoppable," one muttered. Another gripped his rifle tight, but didn't fire. Even the bravest could feel it. No human weapon could harm the king. The king raised his hand, and the alien troops behind him knelt instantly, their glowing weapons lowered. He spoke, his voice deep and commanding, in a language no human could understand. But Ryan didn't need translation. It was a father's command. The princess shook her head. Her reply was sharp, angry, full of fury. She spoke with her chin high, her voice echoing across the battlefield. Ryan didn't know the words, but he understood the meaning. She was saying no. The king's eyes narrowed. He lifted his arm, and the ground cracked under his power. Blue fire erupted, swirling around him like a storm. The princess braced herself, her own energy flickering around her body. And then it began. The two forces collided with a blinding flash. Blue and gold light struck together, a shockwave blasting across the desert. Soldiers were thrown to the ground. Vehicles flipped, sand lifted into the air. The humans shielded their faces, some crying out, others watching in awe. Ryan forced himself to his feet, holding on to cover. He couldn't look away. This wasn't just a fight. It was like watching two storms crash together. The princess moved fast, her hands glowing as she hurled blasts of energy at her father. Each strike lit the sky, shaking the earth beneath her. But the king countered easily, his larger power swallowing hers, forcing her backward step by step. She screamed in rage and fired again. The blast hit his chest, sparks flying. For a second, it looked like she had wounded him. But then the king laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that made Ryan's stomach turn. The king raised both hands and unleashed a wave of golden energy. The blast hit the princess full force, throwing her across the battlefield. She slammed into the sand, coughing, her body trembling. Ryan's heart dropped. He started forward, but a soldier grabbed his arm. "Sir, you'll die out there." Ryan shook him off. He knew the soldier was right, but he couldn't just watch. He shouted toward her, his voice breaking against chaos. "Get up! Don't stop! You're not alone!" The princess lifted her head. Her eyes locked on Ryan's. For a moment, her glowing pupils softened, as if his voice reached her where her power could not. Slowly, painfully, she stood again. The king stepped forward, towering above her. He spoke, his words cutting like blades. Her reply was not with words. She raised her hand, not at him, but at the sky. The clouds above twisted, blue lightning flashing. She pulled on something deeper, something greater than before. Her whole body shook, energy streaming out of her like fire. Ryan realized with horror what she was doing. She wasn't just fighting. She was breaking herself apart to win. The king's eyes widened. For the first time, Ryan saw it. Fear. With a scream that echoed across the battlefield, the princess unleashed her full power. A torrent of blue energy shot upward, then crashed down like a storm. It struck the king directly, burning his armor, tearing glowing cracks across it. He staggered back, roaring in fury. But the blast drained her. Her knees buckled, her body smoking with heat. She collapsed forward, catching herself on her hands. The king straightened, wounded but alive. He raised his hand, gathering another strike, one strong enough to end her. "No!" Ryan shouted, without thinking. He sprinted into the open. Bullets, missiles, none of it mattered. But he couldn't just let her die. He fired his rifle anyway, each shot bouncing off the king's armor like sparks against steel. The king turned his glowing eyes on Ryan. His hand shifted, aiming the blast at the human captain. The princess saw it, and something in her changed. Her weakness burned away. Her pain turned to rage. With the last of her strength, she threw herself between Ryan and the king. Her body lit up with power brighter than the sun. The golden blast struck her shield of blue light, exploding in a shock wave that split the ground apart. When the dust cleared, Ryan was still alive, shielded by her. The princess stood before him, shaking, her body burned and bleeding. She turned her head slightly, whispering one broken word in English. "Together." The king roared in fury, but for the first time he looked uncertain. His daughter had chosen Earth. She had chosen humans. And the battle for the planet was no longer just a war between species. It was now a war within a family. Towering like a shadow of doom and his daughter, the fallen princess, barely standing. She had saved Ryan's life, but the cost was heavy. Her silver armor was cracked. Her pale skin burned and her glowing eyes dimmed. Even so, she stood between him and her father, refusing to move. The king raised his hand, golden fire swirling around it. His voice boomed across the battlefield, filled with anger and betrayal. Though Ryan couldn't understand the words, he understood the meaning. She was no longer his daughter. She was his enemy. The princess swayed, her body trembling. Ryan stepped forward, ready to catch her if she fell. But before he could, she lifted her head. Her glowing eyes locked on the sky, on the alien fleet above. She whispered in broken English, "Earth, not fall. Not today." Then she raised both hands. The air shook. Clouds twisted above, lightning flashing blue. The alien ships trembled in the sky, their engines flickering. Soldiers on both sides froze, staring upward in shock. She's shutting them down," one of the humans gasped. It was true. The princess's power spread like a storm, crawling to the alien fleet, cutting into their weapons and shields. Ships wavered, lights dimmed, weapons fell silent. For the first time, Earth's armies had a chance. "Fire everything we've got," Ryan shouted. Human artillery roared. Missiles streaked into the sky, striking the weakened alien ships. Explosions burst across the heavens, fire lighting the night. Soldiers cheered as alien wreckage rained down, burning through the clouds. But Ryan saw the cost. The princess was shaking violently, her breath ragged. Blood streaked her pale skin, glowing faintly blue. She was killing herself to hold back the fleet. He rushed to her side, gripping her arm. "Stop. You'll die." She turned her head slowly, her eyes glowing like dying stars. "Better me than Earth." Ryan's throat tightened. He had seen brave soldiers before, men and women willing to die for their country. But this was different. This was a princess, once an enemy, now tearing herself apart to protect a world not her own. The king roared in fury. Golden energy burst from him, slamming into the ground. The shock wave threw humans and aliens alike to the sand. He raised his voice, shouting at his daughter, commanding her to stop. But she didn't stop. Her energy spread wider, cutting deeper into the fleet. More alien ships lost power and fell burning through the sky. Human artillery struck again and again, tearing them apart. For every human that fell, 2 alien soldiers went down. The tide of battle was turning. The king saw it, and for the first time, he looked afraid. He charged forward, his massive form glowing with golden fire. Ryan raised his rifle, firing wildly, but the bullets bounced off. The king's target wasn't Ryan. It was his daughter. The princess dropped to one knee, almost too weak to stand. But when the king closed in, she lifted her head, and her voice rang out strong, clear, and sharp. No more. She unleashed one last blast of blue energy, striking her father head-on. The ground split, sand exploding into the air. The shock wave knocked Ryan off his feet. When the dust cleared, the king stood frozen, his armor cracked and glowing with burns. He staggered, his golden fire flickering. For the first time, the invincible king looked mortal. But the princess had collapsed. Her body lay motionless on the sand, her energy gone, her eyes closed. Ryan's chest tightened. He sprinted to her side, dropping to his knees. He shook her gently. "Stay with me. Don't you dare leave us now." Her lips moved faintly. A whisper, almost too soft to hear. "Fight together." Then her body went still. Ryan looked up, rage burning in his chest. The king, wounded but alive, was pulling himself up, raising his glowing hand once more. "Sir!" a soldier shouted from behind. "What do we do?" Ryan clenched his fists. The princess had given everything for them. He wouldn't let her sacrifice mean nothing. He grabbed a fallen rocket launcher, aimed it at the king, and snarled through his teeth. "We finished this." The humans fired everything they had, missiles, rockets, mortars. The desert lit up like a second sun as the explosion swallowed the alien king. When the light faded, nothing stood where he had been. The humans fell silent, staring at the smoke. For a moment, no one spoke. Then a cheer erupted, echoing across the battlefield. But Ryan didn't cheer. His eyes stayed on the princess's still body. She had fallen into human hands as a prisoner. She had risen as Earth's greatest weapon. And now, she had given everything. Ryan placed his hand gently on hers, whispering, "You're one of us now, and we're not done fighting." Above, the sky burned with wreckage, but the war was not over. The alien empire would not stop with one battle. They would return, stronger, and Earth would need her again, if she lived. The battlefield was silent except for the crackle of fire and the cries of the wounded. Alien ships smoldered in the distance, broken and burning, while human soldiers moved carefully among the wreckage. The desert smelled of smoke, blood, and ash. Captain Ryan Hale sat in the sand with the princess in his arms. Her skin was cold, her once glowing eyes now closed. Her breath came shallow, weak, barely there at all. Medics rushed over, dropping to their knees beside him. One checked her pulse, frowning. "She's not human," he said nervously. "We don't even know if our medicine works on her." Then figured out, Ryan snapped. "She saved us all. We're not letting her die." The medics hesitated, then set to work, attaching wires and strange machines scavenged from her own broken armor. Sparks flickered as human tech tried to connect with alien life. Every few seconds, the machines wailed, warning that her energy was fading. Ryan kept his hand on hers, gripping tight, refusing to let go. "Stay with me," he muttered. "You're not done yet." Around them, soldiers watched silently. Some looked at her with awe, others with fear. She had been their prisoner, their enemy, and now she was something more. She had saved Earth's first battle, but at what cost? A cheer suddenly rose from the far side of the battlefield. Soldiers lifted their rifles into the air, shouting victory. The alien king was gone, their fleet broken, their first invasion defeated. For the humans, it was a miracle, but Ryan didn't cheer. His eyes stayed on the princess. He knew better. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Hours later, the survivors returned to the underground base. The princess was placed inside a reinforced medical chamber, wires and scanners surrounding her. Scientists whispered excitedly, speaking of her energy, her power, her DNA. Some wanted to study her. Some wanted to use her. Others feared her. Ryan stayed by her side. Through the glass, he watched her chest rise and fall slowly. Machines beeped with every faint heartbeat. She looked fragile now, almost human, her silver crown lying on the table beside her. A general entered the room behind him. "Captain Hale," he said firmly, "you've done well. Earth owes you a debt." Ryan didn't turn. "This wasn't me. It was her." The general frowned. "She's dangerous. You saw what she can do. If she wakes up again, if she turns against us." "She won't." Ryan cut him off. His voice was sharp, certain. "She chose Earth. She chose us." The general studied him for a moment, then sighed. "You're too close to her. Remember, she's not one of us. She's a weapon, and weapons must be controlled." Ryan's jaw tightened. He didn't answer, but inside he knew the truth. She wasn't just a weapon. She was more. That night, when the base was quiet, Ryan sat alone beside the chamber. He spoke softly, as if she could hear him through the glass. "You don't know this world yet, but you've already changed it. The men out there, they don't see a monster anymore. They see hope. If you live, maybe we can survive this war." For a long time, there was only silence. Then, faintly, the machines beeped faster. Her glowing eyes flickered open. Ryan shot to his feet. "You're alive," he breathed. Relief filled his chest. The princess's lips parted. Her voice was weak, broken, but the words were clear. "Still fight." Ryan leaned closer. "Rest. You don't have to now. You saved us." Her eyes drifted toward the ceiling, as if she could see through the steel walls, up into the sky. "No, not over. More come." Ryan's heart sank. He knew she was right. The Empire wouldn't stop because one king had fallen. They would send more fleets, bigger fleets, stronger enemies, and Earth would stand alone unless she led them. The door opened suddenly. Scientists and soldiers flooded the room, shouting. On the monitors, fresh signals appeared in the sky. More ships, not hundreds like before, thousands. The second wave of the invasion had begun. The general's voice shook as he barked orders. "Prepare defenses. Call every nation. We're under full-scale attack." Ryan turned back to Princess. Even weak, her eyes burned again with light. She was hurt, fragile, barely alive. But when she looked at him, there was no fear. "Together," she whispered. Ryan clenched his fist. Together, the humans had won the first battle. But now, the real war was here, and Earth's greatest weapon was still struggling between life and death. The world was burning. From every horizon, alien warships filled the sky. Their black hulls glowed with cruel fire, thousands of them descending on Earth. Cities across the globe lit up with explosions as the second wave began. Humanity had won the desert battle, but now they faced a storm greater than anything they had imagined. Inside the underground base, alarms blared. Soldiers rushed through halls. Generals shouted orders, and screens showed flames spreading across the planet. Humanity was outnumbered, outgunned, and almost out of time. Captain Ryan Hale stood in the control room, staring at the screens. His jaw was tight, his fists clenched. Every instinct told him this was the end. But then the door opened. The princess walked in. She was no longer weak and broken. Her wounds had healed, her strength returned, but something in her had changed. Her silver armor was reforged by human engineers, mixed with earth steel, glowing faintly blue with her energy. Her crown was gone, replaced by a simple band across her forehead. She was not a princess anymore. She was something more. Every soldier turned to look at her. Fear and awe filled their eyes. The scientists whispered. The generals fell silent. Even the alarm seemed to dim in her presence. Ryan stepped forward. "You're not ready. You're still recovering." She met his gaze, her glowing eyes steady. "I am ready. Earth need me. Humans need me. You need me." Ryan swallowed hard, then nodded. "Then let's finish this." The generals argued. They said it was madness, that no single being could fight an empire. But the soldiers, the ones who had seen her on the battlefield, raised their voices. "Let her fight," they shouted. "She's one of us now." And so the plan was made. Humanity would give everything. Every missile, every jet, every tank, every soldier. And at the center of it all would be her, the weapon the enemy had tried to destroy, the weapon Earth had claimed as their own. The battle began. Over the ruined desert, the skies exploded with fire. Human jets soared upward, missiles streaking into alien fleets. Ground forces fired from every bunker and trench. The Earth shook with the fury of war. But it wasn't enough. The alien empire was too strong, too vast. Until she rose. The princess lifted her hands, and the sky itself seemed to answer. Blue energy poured from her, brighter than the sun, cutting through alien ships like blades of light. Entire squadrons fell from the sky, their engines dead, their weapons silent. Human soldiers cheered as the tide began to turn. Ryan fought on the ground, leading his men through the chaos. But his eyes always searched for her. He saw her standing above the battlefield, her hair lifted by the storm of her power, her armor glowing, her voice ringing out in both her language and theirs. Earth stand, fight together. Her words spread like fire. Soldiers who had been afraid now charged forward with courage. Nations that had once been divided fought side by side. Humanity was no longer alone. They had her. The alien fleet began to fall back. For the first time, the Empire knew fear. But then the final weapon appeared. From the heavens descended a ship larger than mountains, its shadow covering half the desert. It was the Empire's war titan, a fortress built to crush entire worlds. Its cannons glowed with golden fire, ready to burn Earth to ash. The soldiers froze. The generals despaired. But the princess stepped forward. Her voice was calm, steady, full of power. This end, here. She closed her eyes, spreading her arms wide. Her body glowed brighter, brighter still, until her form was almost pure light. The air shook, the ground cracked, the sky tore open above her. Ryan's heart stopped. He knew what she was doing. She was giving everything, not just her power, her life. He shouted, "Don't! You'll die!" Her voice reached him through the storm. "For Earth, for you, I choose." With a scream that shook the heavens, she unleashed it all. A wave of blue fire erupted from her body, a storm so vast it swallowed the alien titan whole. The massive ship cracked, shattered, and exploded in a burst of light that blinded the world. The shock waves spread across the sky, tearing through the alien fleet, ripping their ships apart one by one, until nothing remained but burning wreckage falling to the earth. The war was over. Silence followed. Soldiers stared at the empty sky, their weapons lowered. Across the globe, humans lifted their heads and realized they had survived. Ryan ran across the battlefield, searching through the smoke. His chest ached with dread. Finally, he found her. The princess lay on the ground, her armor broken, her light fading. Her glowing eyes looked at him one last time. "You win," she whispered. "Earth safe." Ryan dropped to his knees beside her, gripping her hand. "No, we win together. You're not leaving us." A faint smile touched her lips. Together, her eyes closed, her body finally still. For a long moment, the world was quiet. Then, across the battlefield, soldiers raised their voices. They shouted her name, not her alien name, but the one humans had given her. Earth's weapon, Earth's guardian, Earth's princess. Ryan bowed his head, his voice low but firm. She came as a prisoner. She became our hope, and she saved us all. Above them, the sky was clear.